First and foremost, giving all glory, honor, and praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule all over the flock of Israel. Shalom, and salutations to you, Akim, out here pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Abarat This video is edifying. I'm Rapah. And like many brothers in Akwaf out there as well, I was intrigued by these videos, these so-called Chinese men who were speaking on behalf of what many of us already know in the camps, amongst the brothers, amongst the fold, amongst the body. You got these Jewish bankers that run the world. You got Rothschild, Goldbergs, and Steens, and they have their run right now on the earth. Maya Anschauer Bauer, in the story of the Rothschild family, he was famously quoted as saying, give me the gold and I care not who makes the law. So you have the elite Edomites, who are mainly Amalekites, or so-called Jews today, who run the banking industry. And these videos kind of brought some more light on it. But as you can see, Ammon or Moab, so-called Chinese, are getting in on the fun now. For the first time I'm seeing in my adult life, I've never seen a Moabite go in on Amalek. I mean, this might be just a turning of the tides right here. This is just one of those things you never see. But here we seen it for the first time. So I was intrigued by this video. And I even watched the backup one that they made called People Got Mad About Our Usury podcast. So they caught a lot of heat over the last few days concerning bringing out truth about how Amalek, so-called Jews, don't commit usury on each other, and how the Talmud describes that they can commit usury against everyone else except their own. And what usury is loaning money with a interest. So the longer it takes for them to pay it back, the more money you make. So it's used as a money-making tool. And in order to make money, you got to have money to lend in the first place. And if they're just creating and generating money out of thin air, then essentially they're just robbing people, because you create the money out of thin air. That's what the bankers is. The money, the U.S. dollar, isn't backed by anything. It's one of the most reliable currencies in the world, traded currencies in the world, and the world currency. But it's just not backed by anything, which makes it only as good as whatever the people believe it's worth. All right, that's where it's a credit-based system. You got to believe it in order for it to work. But if a banking if Babylon takes some serious hit, or if a banker wants to shut down, Babylon, he could do it financially. They can do it financially because the money really isn't backed by anything. So if the Fed goes down, or something happened where the bankers just want to bankrupt America, or destroy Babylon, they could do it through the banking system. Ultimately, if the money goes to zero, everything you have in your bank is worth zero. The only thing that actually worth anything is material possessions. And that's why people throughout history have kept more than just FRN debt note currency. Before that, people had cattle that they invested in. They had property and land that they invested in. They had gold and silver, precious metals. So the whole idea that usury is okay when they do it to each other. I mean, when they do it to us and not do it to each other. Well, that's a biblical concept. It comes from the superiority lens that the Heavenly Father allowed his chosen nation to have over the rest of the nations. He pretty much severed a nation to be more like unto himself, whereas the other nations have their gods, but we the only nation that has the one true power. So that makes that specializes the Israelites in a way that no other nationality can have. And this is really why the words of the Heavenly Father don't get extolled. It's people talk about the Bible, but they really have more respect for the Constitution than they do the Bible, because Esau doesn't uphold the Bible. All right, and so without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and now. That was the introduction. Now let's just go ahead and grab the scriptures to back all of this up. So first, let's bring out Proverbs 22 and verse 7. Proverbs 22 and 7, it says, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender." The borrower is servant to the lender. So as far as the scriptures and wisdom is concerned, when you owe somebody money, you become a borrower, and now your title is to be a servant under them. It's almost as if you automatically become a servant because you owe them. It comes from the idea you owing them. Now you owe them the fee that you borrow, but you do not owe them more than that. That would be called usury. All right. So we're going to look that word up real quick. Servant. See what it say. A slave. All right. Let's go down. See here. Let me just double check with this. It says here, to the borrower to the lender. So a slave. Okay. Now, does that mean somebody loan you money, you actually got to go and begin a slave for them? No, But as you can see, the position of the rich and the poor is one like unto a borrower and server. I mean, a borrower, a servant, and a master. The rich ruling over the poor is like a master-servant relationship. All right. So let's next grab Deuteronomy 15 and 7. And that says, "If there be any among you poor, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy power have given thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor that shut thine hand from thy poor brother." So it's very much it's like an obligation now. You see, it goes from being a good, something you do, it's nice, you should consider it. You got somebody poor amongst you today, you consider if you do it, if you need to give them something or not. But that wasn't the case in Israel. You see, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the law. It's pretty much telling you it's your job now to take care of that poor man. It says, but if there are any poor Israelites, and see why it has brethren there. When you do the research and the word searches on that word brethren, you're going to quickly find out that it's talking about other Israelites. It's just not talking about, any old people. These days that word is used loosely. Back then, you knew exactly who your brother was. It says brother of the same parents, which is most regular definition. Half brother, which means you had the same father, showing you that the seed line is of the father. You can't have a half brother and he's of another father. It's not your brother. And then it is relative, kinship, same tribe. What's the tribes? You got 12 tribes of Israel, but you have kinship in all of Israel are brothers. All tribes are brothers because the tribes come from actual brothers of the same father and mother, or the same father, Isaac. All right. And so a brother is an Israelite. It breaks that down in the NLT perfectly for vocabs and every other Christian that believes that. You shouldn't deal with the Old Testament because it was really about the Israelites, but we're all Israelites now. That convolutes the message. The message was that the Lord allowed you to do certain things to others, but you better not do it to your own Israelite brothers. And that demonstrates the level of separation of nationalities. No, you can never turn into an Israelite if that's not of your father's line, if you have no kinship of them. So again, but if there are any poor Israelites in your towns, when you arrive in the land the Lord power is giving you, do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted toward them. Instead, be generous and lead them, lend them whatever they need. Man needs 5 goats and you had 30. He's poor. You lend it to him. He needs 2 pounds worth of silver. You lend it to him. Do not be mean-spirited, still in the NLT, and refuse someone a loan because the year for canceling debts is close at hand. That was the 7th year, the year of release. Every 7th year. It says, if you refuse to make the loan and the needy person cries out to the Lord, you will be considered guilty of sin. And that's why in the KJV it says, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, and that I be evil against thy brother. So this is evil. It's not just something that, you look over, you pass over. Oh, he didn't want to lend him any money. He didn't want to lend him money, and then you go about your day. Yeah, that's Elijah. He doesn't like to lend money. Just ask Aaron, he'll lend it to you. Nah, man, it was considered evil to be wicked, be evil ethically. So your ethics was off, man. Couldn't do that. And so, it shows you that. I also kind of wanted to just touch on the fact that, at this stage, brothers should really have some type of credit, and this is, I speak as a man, brothers should have some type of credit cards at this stage. You should, because, all right, the idea of credit is borrowing. And obviously you can see that there's times when you actually need the money. There's a difference between having money at hand and cashing out your credit cards, like blowing them. You know what I mean? Like charging them out, maxing them out. There's a difference. If you're not good with money, if you're just gonna max it out, it's not for you. But for the responsible brothers, which there should be more. And I imagine a lot of, in multiple camps all across the world, is very responsible brothers. I can only imagine. You need the responsibility just to be involved with this truth for so long. So with that being said, once you got that out the way, brothers should actually have credit cards. And I say that because if you get in a tight situation, what are you going to do? You're going to go to a brother, right? You're going to ask a brother to lend you money or whatnot, and that should continue. That's been here since I've been here, longer before I got here. And that's always going to be a thing. Brothers lending each other money as we're reading out the scriptures. But the question is, you worried about paying it back? Well, our whole belief is that we don't have long hair. So do you actually think you're going to be paying it back? Let's say you take out a mortgage, even looking at a mortgage with a crib, 30-year mortgage. Are you going to be here to pay back that mortgage? You're not going to be here, So what is a loan, essentially? You're not going to be able to pay Esau that back more than likely. And if you do, that means you're doing well. You did right with the loan. You had a good business plan and strategy for that loan. All right? So don't be scared of a loan. Don't be scared of a personal loan. Don't be scared of a credit card. All right. back to verse 9. It says, do not be mean-spirited. All right, read that. Verse 10, give generously to the poor, NLT. Matter of fact, I'll go back to KJ. It says, thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him. Because that for this thing the Lord thy power shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. So you get a blessing right back for it. The poor shall never cease out of the land. So there's always going to be poor amongst us. That's what Yahushua said. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. NLT. That's why I am commanding you. So it's commanded. Therefore I command. That takes away this whole idea like, well, I don't really do this. I don't really do that. But if you're in a situation you can lend money, just understand that not only is it commanded, but thou shalt open thine hand widely unto thy brother. And it's basically, verse above tells you it's a blessing. The Lord is going to bless thee in all thy works and all that thou puttest thy hand to. So to give is definitely better than to receive. You know, as we learn it. Now, I'm not going to make this too long. I just got one or two left. And that's it. Psalms 37, 26. He is merciful and lendeth. He is ever merciful and lendeth. And his seed is blessed. NLT, the godly always give generous loans to others. And their children are a blessing, man. So this is very serious, man. You know, that we understand, you know, that how Amalek is basically taking one of our laws and using it against us, or using it on us, which is don't commit usury. And first of all, lend the money. So that proves that lending is something that we should be, we always have done. You know, these are the end times. I'm gonna also say, brothers, be mindful of who and how much and who you lending to. You know, don't be simple with it. Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. They are snakes, just like there's wolves in sheep's clothing. Come on. It's trendy to make somebody look like a fool and a jackass too. So be mindful, man. Be mindful of the person. Everyone has their own reputation. Be mindful. Ask around. Do your due diligence. Don't just pass money out like you're an ATM as well. Just be mindful. You know a brother. You should know a brother for a brother by now. Exodus 22 and 25 says, if thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. So again, while it is a beautiful thing to be able to lend, and most of the time it's not the lender that gets messed up, it's the borrower that gets jacked up. That's why there's a law against usury. See, but the scriptures also said if it's in our hand to pay somebody back, if you have it in your hand, when you get it, you do that. You don't just sit on your money for months while you causing this man to become rageful. You know, knowing you were supposed to pay him back, and he ain't charging you interest. The world gonna charge you interest, the brother ain't. So this is why it's an opportunity for snakes. You know, and they consider like, nah, I don't want to go to the bank, but I'm gonna go to the brother, you know, because the bank gonna charge interest. But you ain't gonna get if you ain't gonna get a brother his money back, and you expecting that you might never, you know, he a brother, he gonna forgive and forget, then the Lord gonna do you. That's all. The only thing is the Lord gonna destroy you for that. That's fraud in your brother. The Lord gonna destroy you for that. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down. All right. NLT says if thou take thy neighbor's cloak as a security for a loan, you can secure a loan. There goes That idea. Going back to the scriptures. Nothing new under the sun. I forget what they call that right now. I knew the word. It's been a while since I used it. It says, if you take a neighbor's cloak as a security for a loan, you must return it before sunset. Oh, it says this coat may be the only blanket your neighbor has. Okay, they call it collateral in the world. So it's not that you can't have collateral. It's just don't take something that he needs in order to live. He took his toothbrush for collateral. He took his, some Jake's so evil. They say, well, I'm going to keep your wife while you get my money back. Yo, there's some grimy niggas out here, man. So, of course, you want to deal with a brother first and foremost, but you should have credit cards, man. You should have, just understand he's doing usury, so you got to put the money back on the card. Keep your balance low so the usury don't never get a hold of you. Render the Caesar with his Caesars. Esau gonna get his. Don't worry about Esau. He gonna get his. Amalek gonna get theirs, especially. This is Exodus 18 and 13. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moses from the morning unto evening. Salaki. I was looking for Ezekiel. I'm in Exodus. Looking for Ezekiel. Come on, man. All right. Ezekiel 18:13. have given forth have given forth upon usury, and have taken increase, that shall he then live? He shall not live. He have done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. So that's going into the idea of committing, the above abominations, but as well as usury. NLT. It lends money at excessive interest, which is usury. Should such a sinful person live? No. He must die and must take full blame. So it's sinful. It's a sinful way. And if a brother need money, you got it. And you need a loan, and he good for it. He good for it. And like you met him 2 weeks ago, he good for it. The brother. Should lend him the money. It's a blessing. It's a blessing upon you. Better to give than to receive. And when you get the money back, brother, pay the brother back. And he don't need to give you anything extra, because that's going to be sinful. And as you can see, you must die. So I brought this out. This video was edifying. Until next time, shalom.